Welcome back, boys and girls. Today is Thursday, and we're going to start our reading time by talking about opposites. Now, for some reason, I have always loved opposites. So, this is kind of a fun way for me to start today. So, I think you are going to be able to help me with this. That's why I left half of it empty, because I would like you to be thinking of what is opposite of the words that I say. And then I'll quickly write them down when I know that you are working with me. So, you ready to think? We ready to go? Okay, I want you talking back to me. Of course, that's a nice talking back, right? Okay, let's get started. So, opposites, that's a pretty long word. Let's clap that. Opposites. How many syllables is that? Whoops, over here, 3. You are right. All right, boys and girls. So first I have the word big. And what would be the opposite of something that is big? It would be small. You're right. Okay. How about noisy? Sometimes our room is noisy, and sometimes our room is quiet. You are right. That QU sound. Quiet. Good. This one might be a little tricky. City or this is going to be in our story today. Just in case you don't know, city and country. Miss Dillon grew up in the city, and then I moved to Cairo, and that was a big change. I moved from the city to the country. All right, this one you should know. Sometimes we're cold and sometimes we're hot. Correct. We just left summer. We're in fall. The opposite of summer would be winter. You're correct. Nice job, boys and girls. So maybe you can think of some other opposites. This would be a fun game to play with somebody, maybe when you're going in a car somewhere and you have a long drive and you're kind of bored. You could say, I want to do opposites. And you could do lots and lots and lots of opposites. So that's a little challenge for you. Okay, yesterday we did, or maybe 2 days ago, we did Two Little Blackbirds. Do you remember that? Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill. Here we go. Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill. One named Jack, one named Jill. Fly away, Jack. Fly away, Jill. Come back, Jack. Come back, Jill. Let's try it again. Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill. One named Jack, one named Jill. Fly away, Jack. Fly away, Jill. Come back, Jack. Come back, Jill. Nice job. All right, now we're going to read a story about two mice. Miss Dillon doesn't like mice very well, but these were nice mice. They were called the city mouse and the country mouse. So just like the opposites we just did. And this is a fable. and that means it's a made-up story, and this is passed down from like a long, long time ago, and this is retold by Margaret Lippert. Margaret Lippert. And I'm going to tell you a few vocabulary words that you might not know. The first word is feasted. Now, if I say we feasted at Thanksgiving, that might give you a big hint, because feasted means we eat really well, okay? Like at Thanksgiving or at Christmas, and you walk away going, I'm so full. Now, kids might not do that as much, but grown-ups do that all the time at the holidays, don't they? All right. Stored means to put things away. Now, we think of store as like the grocery store, but this is stored with a D on the end, and it means to put something away neatly, or we put it away for later. Like, I stored my summer clothes in another closet. I put them away for another time. That's what stored means. Ashamed. Ashamed means we're embarrassed. Like, oh, I wish they didn't know that about me. Do you ever feel like that? I think we all do sometimes. Or, yeah, I can't really help it, but that's the way I am. And we're kind of ashamed of it. But it's all okay. How about cautiously? Cautiously is doing it carefully. So we're cautious when we cross the street. We're careful. So those are some words that we're going to talk about as we read our story. And I'm going to show you the picture right at the bottom, because this is one of those stories that only has a couple pictures. So there's our city mouse and our country mouse eating together. And in this picture, they were eating in the country because they were out in the field. All right, as soon as I turn the page, we'll be ready to read. The city mouse and the country mouse. There was once a happy little country mouse who lived in a big wheat field. In the summer, she feasted on grains of wheat or on bits of bread from the farmers' lunch boxes. When the weather grew cold, she moved into the farmhouse and picked up bits of cake and bread and cheese, which the cook dropped on the kitchen floor. These she stored away in her little mouse hole in the attic until she had a good supply laid up for winter. Now, one day during the winter, the little country mouse's cousin, the city mouse, came to visit her. When they had chatted for a while, the little country mouse took her visitor to see her attic pantry. Proudly, she showed her the mounds of cheese bits, the heaps of bread and cake crumbs, and the neat piles of nuts and dried peas. But when the city mouse had eaten a hearty dinner, she wiped her whiskers daintily and said, "You poor thing! So this is the way you live? On leftovers dried up in your attic? Come with me to the city, and I will show you a real feast." I wonder why the city mouse says what she does to the country mouse about the food that she eats. Do you think maybe she hurt her feelings? I think maybe. Well, let's see. The country mouse immediately felt ashamed or embarrassed of her simple home, so she quietly went along with the city mouse to visit her. The city mouse led the way into a huge brick house up a great staircase and into a dining room. The rich people who lived in the big house with the city mouse were just having dinner, so the two little mice hid behind the door. "Keep very still," said City Mouse. "When they leave the table, we can have all the food that is left." The eyes of the little country mouse grew big and round at that, for she had never seen so much food in her whole busy life. So she sat very still until, with a scuffling of feet and scraping of chairs, the big people left the table. "Come on," squeaked the city mouse. Peeking carefully, to the right and to the left, she led the way across the room, up onto a chair, and from the chair onto the table. Oh my goodness. With the country mouse scampering along behind her. The country mouse took a long look around her at the table, still crowded with good things to eat, and sighed a deep, happy sigh. "This is wonderful," she said, taking a big bite out of a beautiful cheese. "You live just like a prince." She had scarcely finished squeaking when, with a snarl, a cat pounced up on the table, and into the room bounced two dogs barking fiercely. Can you picture that in your mind? They're up on the table, and the cat comes in, and the cook, I missed that part. She came in and was waving a spoon at them, and then the dogs are barking. What do you think those mice are feeling? Like, oh my goodness, we gotta get out of here. In the midst of it, the two mice skittered down to the floor and dodged into a handy hole. "We'll wait until all is quiet again and go back for some more," whispered the city mouse. But her country mouse shook her head firmly. "We'll wait until it is quiet again, and then I'll go home as fast as I can. You are welcome to all the fine food you can get, my friend. As for me, I prefer my dry crust in my peaceful attic." So the country mouse, she decided she would rather have dried crumbs and be safe and peaceful instead of having lots of different kinds of things to eat, but having to be afraid of the dogs and the cats and the cook. What kind of life would you rather have? Would you rather have one that's like really calm or really like crazy? You know what? Miss Dillon's kind of both. Sometimes I want the really crazy because that's kind of fun. But most of the time now, I'd rather have the calm. What a good story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back in a couple minutes.